I guess, as we said before tonight, Stephanie Singleton and Deb Harrison Anderson. I hope I didn't mix that up.
Nope.
Okay, I got it. And we're talking to them about their organization, the Teachers Light. Getting back into the conversation, you guys were starting to tell us about some of the promotional products that you guys have for your company, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so we actually started off with the T-shirts, and the motivation there was, you had asked us before what was something that we saw missing in education, and really in the, I shouldn't say so much education, but in the school culture. One of the things that we notice a lot is these T-shirts with these really negative slogans on them. Hot designs, hot designs. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not even sure sometimes that the kids even read what they say, and sometimes I just wish I hadn't read what they said afterwards. But so Stephanie had actually said, it would be neat if we could come up with some positive stuff. And so that kind of got us on that mood. We jotted down slogans and design ideas and ran them past the best judges ever, our students.
Of course.
And they were quick to tell us if they liked it or not. They'd say, I'd buy that. That's hot. Nope, that's ridiculous. That's dorky. There's no way I would wear that. And once we kind of had a good format for that, we came down, we narrowed it down to some basic design ideas. We met with our graphic designer at Sun-Dried Studios.
Justin.
And, Justin.
Shout out to Justin.
Justin and Sun-Dried.
Hours, no understatement. Hours, days, weeks later. We had some fantastic stuff. And we had those T-shirts made up, and we did our first sale, which is a fundraiser for a scholarship that we're going to be doing.
Okay.
It's a Teachers Light Scholarship, which will be given to students who's had to overcome a challenge in order to graduate.
Okay.
And so that was the launching of our T-shirts, and we do still have those available. As I said, though, we are going to kind of cut down on the colors a little bit just because we're finding that we need to reshift gears just for the time being.
Another thing with the T-shirts is not only for students, but
Correct.
For me personally as a teacher, I have never bought a teacher T-shirt, if you will, because all the stuff I saw definitely did not appeal to me. There were little puppy dogs or little apples.
Do you guys wear like those corny sweaters too on Christmas time with the reindeers and
absolutely now we do have some colleagues that do wear those to each their own. However, that's not us. No.
Like that? No. Okay.
So we wanted to kind of come out with some slogans for us as well as teachers so that we could look good in the classroom as well.
What are some of those slogans?
Well, one of the ones that Deb came out with is, I love her shirt. It says, my superpower, I teach. So, which is kind of, the play on right now. You have all the, the comedies out, or I guess the superhero movies, if you will, on that. That's one of the ones, one of the slogans that I thought was important is, I plant seeds of integrity and respect what's in your garden.
That was
so it makes you think. It makes you think, what are you putting out there?
What was do you remember one that was my favorite, the one I wanted, that I looked at?
Respect is contagious?
No, it wasn't that one.
I am worth it?
No.
Growing into a real lady?
No. I know it wasn't that one unless I was buying it for my niece.
It's like, this is the acronym for girl?
But I know it was I can't remember, but it was one of them that I really liked.
Now it's, let's see. One Light, Many Lives?
Is that the one? That's the foundation.
It might have been that one, but I believe it was another one. But that's okay. We're not going to go through the whole thing. You guys can go to the website if you want to see the show.
How long did it take you guys to come up with this stuff? Because those are really creative. Girl, you said?
Girl. The acronym for girl is growing into a real lady.
Wow. Young ladies need that these days.
Exactly.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, some positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
So that's great. You guys have the shirts and everything now, and we definitely probably want to see you guys doing some workshops probably coming up in the next year.
Yes.
So anybody who's listening, if you want them, they're available for that. Let me ask you guys this. You started this group, and you guys are off to a great start, and this is something I know, like people that when they go through business plans and stuff, they say, well, where do you see yourself? And I know when I first asked you this, I kind of went way out into the future. So I think I'll come back on it a little bit and say, where do you see a Teacher's Light about 2 years from now?
2 years from now. Okay, because Well, it's definitely, we definitely would like to have several books published because we have a lot of ideas for books. Even though we have 2 that are almost complete, we have started on other books because, again, we work a lot. And there's just so much to do. There's so much that we want to say. We definitely want to write curriculum. We're reading some other novels by other people that right now have not had a lot of exposure in the classroom, but we definitely think would appeal to a lot of the generation that's coming up. We want to definitely write some curriculum from some undiscovered authors, if you will, that don't have a lot of exposure right now, to be able to get those in the classroom and to be able to affect change. And I'll let Deb add to that.
One of the main things, too, that we really would like to see happen is to expand the network so that, it becomes at least national in the sense that you now are having people talk who are coming from different areas. So you have idea sharing going on. You have, something like a homeschool parent in New York talking to a homeschool parent in Wisconsin. You have administrators from different school districts, discussing ideas that are working for them. And that type of networking is what we really see is going to be the positive movement, because when you have people who are crossing boundaries and stepping out of categories and just saying, we're educators, what can we do? What are the things that are working for you? So that's, I think, probably one of our top goals, really, is to see the organization grow and see people start to be feeding positivity into each other.
Okay. All right. I know, Dan, you had a question that you wanted to ask, and we figured since you guys were here, and since we have 2 teachers here, we might want to get some teacher questions in.
Yeah, I saw a segment the other day. I caught the end of it, so I didn't really see the whole thing, but on CNN.
But just to get I'm sorry to cut you off, Dan, but just to get your idea on a couple of things.
Sure.
Now, you teach the 11th grade, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty much the pivotal year when a teen is getting ready to leave high school and get prepared for college.
Right.
And I saw a segment on CNN where the journalist was questioning a college scholar about SATs and are they still relevant. And he was basically saying that he doesn't agree with SATs and that shouldn't determine whether a kid should get into college or an Ivy League school, or is it really fair because you have kids who do well in school but they're not really good at taking tests. I know myself, I did well in school, but when it came to tests, no good. So how do you guys feel about that? And, do you have a lot of students who struggle with SATs, and is it worth it?
Well, I'm a special education teacher, so I would most definitely. And I do have students that have not done well on the SAT, but have attempted to go to college. Some of them may take longer than a traditional time, but they work hard, and a lot of them are able to accomplish that goal set before them. So I definitely believe that SATs aren't necessarily a realistic predictor of whether or not a student will be successful in college despite those difficulties.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say that having talked to people who are in the admitting offices of various colleges and stuff, and the focus is really shifting a lot on that. I will not say that emphasis on the SAT is being done away with, because that's not the case, but they are looking at the whole student now. So it's across this, is this student involved in things besides classes? Is this a student who works hard? They're looking at teacher recommendations. Because if it's a student who just really has a tough time with, and it's not even always just tests, it's just those big, massive tests. There's a lot of, and it's an endurance test, really. So they're moving away from that. Whether I think they're ever going to completely do away with them, I don't think so, because I do think colleges like to kind of have a sense of in terms of those assessment methods, how does a student fare? And I think that's something that they're still looking at. So I don't think they're ever going to do away with them. But as Stephanie said, I don't think that they're necessarily going to reflect how every student
It's kind of reevaluating that situation. Okay. Yeah, because like I said, I myself, struggled with taking tests. It wasn't that I was dumb or anything. It was just, when it came time to taking tests, and also SATs cover, topics that not all kids learn.
Exactly.
So that's another factor in which I think is kind of unfair, because, you have kids that are in AP and then kids who are, are in special ed.
Absolutely.
They're taking the same test. It's like, is that really fair?
Right.
So that's the question I had to ask.
It has a lot to do with exposure as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, depending on what type of school district you're coming from, and the resources available to that student in that school district as well. So opportunity and resources.
Yeah, because I went to Newburgh Free Academy, and I was not prepared at all in my first year out in college. I had never done a term paper at all, research paper, anything. And first day in English class, they wanted us to do a research paper.
Right.
I had no idea what I was doing, and the teacher was really shocked. Like, well, where did you come from? Why didn't you do this? And I wasn't in AP classes, so therefore I didn't have the exposure to a lot of things that the other kids in the class did have. So I know you guys probably see a lot of that.
Well, I would also add on too that I think one of the things, and this is really, awareness about this has increased a lot, because I was having a discussion with somebody the other day who was talking about years ago really what the vision was of somebody who would be labeled special education. And special education, I mean, some of our students who are our brightest students have some type of learning disability. I mean, because that can include difficulty with the way that you process language on the written page. It
Different
can be the
forms
way
of
that
it.
you hear stuff, your ability to pay attention, test-taking strategies. So that's one of the reasons why special education is so critical, because allowing students to be able to get past these particular obstacles allows them to embrace the skills and their strengths that they have. And that's beautiful. When you see a student who's not a good test taker, but you're able to kind of maneuver a way through that so that they can really shine, that's where it's at.
And I'm glad that you touched on that, because a lot of people take special ed and just group it in,
Right.
Either kids are mentally handicapped or
Exactly.
physically handicapped. And I know at my school, if you were in special ed, you were getting ragged on, and it was just, you're the kid that's in the small classroom and
Or
you're
riding a little
stupid,
bus, as they
and
say.
that's really not the case. I know kids, and I know kids now who are in special ed, and they're not stupid at all. So anybody out there that's listening to us, don't just think that special ed is just,
Right.
Like I said, mentally handicapped or physically handicapped. There's different aspects of it, just like diseases or sicknesses, anything. There's different forms of it. Don't just bunch it in one category
Yeah,
and
you
try to
would-
belittle people.
Right.
You would more so think about it as there's. You can say that there's special needs, that
Exactly.
their needs need to be
Absolutely.
met differently than other students.
Nicely explained.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that also, because I know a lot of special education teachers other than Stephanie, and it is something, and believe it or not, there's a shortage of special ed teachers, aren't there? That's not a field that a lot of teachers choose to go into.
Well, right now, because the requirements are changing a lot now, you have to have a specialty in a specific content area right now if you're going into the high school or middle school area. So you would need to major in either English, math, social studies, or a particular science, and then on top of that also focus on special education. So a lot more classes are required right now to become a special education teacher.
Okay. Let me ask you guys a question. I actually watched a documentary last night, and I watch a lot of things late at night, so I don't remember the title of the documentary. It was on Netflix. But it was a documentary that a man made. He actually studied the New Jersey school system on a whole, and he broke it down as to see what the spending per school district was in New Jersey, how much was going per student, per school. And as they broke it down, he wanted to know actually how much of the money was actually going towards the student. And what they found was that in a state like New Jersey, they compared it with a state like Maryland. Maryland only had, I believe, about 29 school districts. New Jersey had over 300 or 400 and something school districts. And, along with all the school districts, you have administrators and everything else. And it seemed like most of the money was going to the administrators and not to the students, because they were wondering why we spend more money per student than any other country in the world, but yet if you look at the list on where we are in English and math and science, well, not English, but math and science, we're way behind. So they didn't say, well, we don't understand this, we're spending so much money. And what they found in the end was that the money isn't actually going to the students. So now that to bring this now up to date, to be in New York State in 2011, where we are in the midst of all types of budget cuts and and all things in this funding to education, how do you think that that's going to affect you guys as teachers moving forward?
Very good question.
That is a good question. Well, that's actually a fairly important question. I actually I had taught for 7 years, and then stayed home. I have 2 children at home, and then went back to teaching. And this past year, actually, they cut in the English department, and I lost my position because which is it's of nobody's fault. The way that it works when you're out is you lose your seniority. So I actually just lost my position. So the impact on me is pretty large. It's across the board, and the thing that's very sad is really the state of our economy right now is impacting everybody. So it's not it's not just education where it's being lost everywhere. However, it's unfortunate that when we have kids who have so many concerns and things that they're going to have to face, and you just see teacher positions being cut, funding for programs being cut. The allocation of funds is a large issue that could be a whole other interview for another day.
I'm sure.
I think that the people who do what they have to do the best they can do, and I don't mean that in an ambiguous way to try and cover myself. I really think everybody's in a bind right now and trying to figure out what's the next best thing to do.
And go ahead. I'm sorry. And we're really kind of even everyone in education right now, we're really kind of at a place of uncertainty to see where education is heading right now, because now education used to be based on the state level, based state education. Now they're moving more to a national level. So with national level of education, national core standards that we're moving towards as we get rid of No Child Left Behind, we don't know how the resources are going to be allocated because we don't have any answers on that at this point. So it really is going to be interesting to really see how education moves forward within the next couple of years.
Yeah, because going on what Kevin has said about, and what you said about budget cuts, and I went to my daughter's parent-teacher conference a few years back, and the teacher was going over the curriculum, and she showed the science book that they were using. That science book is the same science book that I used when I was in elementary school, and that copyright date was like 1970 something. Kids were the pictures of the kids in the book were like wearing bell bottoms and afros. And, we laugh about it, but it's like how you said, we're competing with other countries, but yet we have outdated resources, and how are we supposed to do that? And this budget cuts, and you don't have the proper tools to really teach these kids. And I know teachers who have to come out of their own pockets
that's true.
Get their own supplies, and because the money is just not there. So I don't know if you guys have that issue at Pine Bush, but
it depends on what it is that you're looking for. Decorations for the classroom and stuff. You're going to be.
I think definitely elementary teachers come out of their pocket a lot more than at the high school level, because a lot of times our students, the age group we deal with, have jobs or, we're very creative in terms of the resources that we do have. And that's one of the reasons with our organization, we want to be able to pull together our resources, especially at a time like this when there are a lot of budget constraints.
Close our show out on, not our show, but our interviews out on a lighter note. Because, a lot of the topics that we deal with are, pretty, kind of heavy. So before we end out the interview, if anybody wants to get in contact with you or wants to work with you, is interested in a workshop, let them know how to get in touch with you.
www.ateacherslight.org, or you can email us at ateacherslight@gmail.com. Our phone number is 845-345-4413.
And you can also hit us up on Facebook, which is a good forum for little informal conversations and discussions and stuff.
And that's a Teacher's Light.
Correct. Teacher's Light on Facebook.
If you want to send donations for the scholarship that will be ready for 2012, you can email us, or you can mail it to P.O. Box 328, Pine Bush, New York 12566.
Okay.
I think you guys really need to, and all jokes aside, I think you guys really need a reality show, and not like not like this other stuff that's out here that's not reality. Because what you guys are doing reality, they really need a reality show like this. But being that it's positive and they're actually doing something, they're not going to promote it.
It won't sell.
We will promote it though.
Yeah, we'll promote it. We'll promote it.
Kids always say we're a comedy act.
Oh yeah, we have good times in the classroom.
Okay, well, we thank you guys for coming down.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad that you were able to come down, and I'm actually fortunate to know you guys and to be able to help you get your idea out there and let people know about what you're doing. So, you guys are friends of the show, so whenever you guys want to come down, if you have something, that you can definitely come down and discuss it.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, anybody you want to say hello to before?
Shout-outs?
Sure, I would love to say hello out to my lovely daughters, Autumn and Alina, and my wonderful, supportive husband, Austin. I love you.
And I'm going to say a hello to Ephraim and Kira, who are hope listening live with Aunt Valerie right now, and to my parents and my brother for all their incredible support, and especially my mom, who spent a lot of hours watching our children while we...
Yes, sorry, Mama Jean.
So, like I said, we're so glad that they were able to come up here, and they really do fit the title of this show because they were inspired to go out and make a change. And, because they're doing what they're doing, it does make them extraordinary people. And we just want to thank you guys for coming down
Thank
again.
you. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Keep doing what you guys are doing.
Yes, definitely.
We really do. At least I admire what you guys are doing. To repeat what I said before, it's good to see two young, positive females
Thank you.
Thank you.
doing their thing.
Yeah.